could talk about games played by Ryan and Mike. A modern, a retro video game show. Yes, we talk about games and sometimes other stuff like Star Trek. It's a blast, our gaming podcast.
Hello and welcome to another Talk About Games. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Mike. Today, Ryan's got for you the Terminator on Sega Genesis.
So I really needed an excuse to talk about the Terminator, right? Because
I always think of RoboCop versus Terminator when I talk about the Sega Genesis one. I always forget there's just the Terminator.
yeah, and we're not talking, this isn't Terminator 2. This isn't Terminator Genesis. God,
That fucking movie.
right?
Yeah.
You know, this is the Terminator on Genesis, 1993.
Okay.
And, you know, it goes off to a good start because it starts up and the fucking music plays,
Yeah.
which is what you want.
Yeah.
And the fucking letters go across the screen.
The music from the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's got but it's like Genesis, so you're like, yeah, this is Terminator. This is the fucking Terminator, right?
That's the perfect, like, that Genesis sound and the Terminator, those two things together are like,
You're like, yeah.
that's it.
So you start the game. and it's like digitized stills from the movie. Like the skulls, you know, the skull
Yeah.
sitting on the ground.
I
and
do,
shit.
yeah.
But it's like pixelized. Like I imagine, like, I don't know if they use technology to digitize it.
Or if they had a sprite artist.
If somebody had to sit there and like look at the still and like
in Mario Paint.
in Mario Paint,
Right.
they're sitting there, they got like carpal tunnel. They're trying to.
I wonder what they used to draw the sprite art, like when they were making a Sega Genesis game. They were not using Mario Paint.
No.
But I wonder the program to sit and actually make the sprites in a Sega Genesis game. How was it done? I don't know.
I have no idea, but this is like.
By the way, if anybody knows or could leave a comment, if you do know the answer to that, regardless if it's NES, Sega Genesis, any of those old systems, I would love to know more about how did they do that? I want to know more about how they made this shit.
What computers they used, what software they used, what was done by hand, what was done by like text files, where they
Right.
had to like kind of guess. You know, it's.
I mean,
crazy
we've
to
talked
think
about
of.
before. Maybe they use like an MSX computer or something.
Right.
Like I'm sure
or
they
an
just
Amiga
use some kind
or
of
something.
Japanese computer,
Yeah.
to do it. But I wonder what exactly
Right.
were they using?
Well, you know, when they advertised the N64, they talked about Silicon Graphics workstations, like the SGI workstations. So like by that era, they had like fairly modern
yeah.
computers, but prior to that, it's, you know,
I'd also love to know if we knew what kind of computer and what kind of program they used to do the sprite art for, let's just say, a Genesis game. Let's say this game, the Terminator. Because it might be different for different systems and console, whatever. Let's just say we found out exactly what they used, for that. Also, what kind of monitor? Were they using like a PVM, or were they doing it like on just any old computer CRT or something? Like,
Right.
I'd love to know all that kind of stuff.
and then the other thing is, like, did they have really crappy computers that were like black and white CRTs and they had to like do it by memory just to
Right.
figure out,
I bet somebody had to do something like that. Yeah.
you know, like, oh, what's it going to be?
Yeah.
Oh, we won't know until I send it to over here or whatever.
When I beat Doom Eternal,
Yeah.
they had like a sort of almost like a making of, and there's people talking and all this stuff at the end of the game. It's like the makers and all that, which is really cool. I wish something like that existed for this game.
Yeah. No, that would be
You
cool.
know?
Yeah. You know, the one thing about this game is it starts and it was made by Probe for Virgin Games.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's like a UK. It wasn't made in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It has like a million licensing things on it. Like it's like Cameron Film and
Well, it's a
this is
Terminator.
this,
Yeah,
and it's
right.
like there was so much legal shit that went into this game coming out. You know,
I always do this, but I'm going to do it again. What are the chances Arnold ever played through this game?
yeah. I mean, he's all over it.
He's probably doing it right now.
That's what he does. This is you know what? This is a time where like like Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were like new and cool, and maybe he did play it because it was like the new
Maybe.
cool.
Maybe.
He's a cool guy. There's got to be. I bet you somebody can find video of him pretending to play it.
Usually, a lot of times when they'll get the celebrity to at least stand there with the game or hold the game or something like that, just to like make it like,
Oh, he held it. Yay.
Yeah, or he's standing in front of a screen or something. Maybe. Maybe.
So,
but wait a second though. There were so many Terminator games and Conan the Barbarian, and he was in so many movies that were made into so many games that. Was he really going to do that for every game he was in? You know how many fucking games they made with Arnold? Like,
right. Last Action Hero. Was he holding Last Action Hero for Super Nintendo? No.
They probably couldn't even get. They probably had to take a picture from a movie, or you know, I don't think so. He was too big of a star.
So what's great about the Terminator is everybody talks about Terminator 2. Everybody talks about other Arnold movies. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays the bad guy in this movie. And a lot of younger people or people that know about it may not be aware of that.
Predator.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He didn't play Predator.
Right.
He didn't play it. He didn't fucking play it.
Yeah.
Never. None of this shit.
Right.
Sorry, but I just think about that a lot.
No, you're
when I
right.
think
You're
about all
right.
this shit. Yeah.
But I want to say like this game is unique because Arnold's the bad guy, the Terminator in it. Kyle Reese is the hero. You start the game, you're Kyle Reese, you're in the future, you got the digitized pixels, you start playing the game, and you're like, oh, I'm pumped up, I'm hearing the music. Wow, this is a mediocre side-scrolling platformer.
Do you want it to be more like the arcade game where you're shooting screen? Is that what you're looking for?
No, I want it to be more like a good side-scrolling platformer.
It's just not a good
It's just like, like the way to think of it is, you ever play like a game like... How do I do this without? It's like dioramas. Like the art is very like 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
The game's got great parallax. Like the art is good, but it's like there's like little rooms and you're going sideways from room to room.
Yeah.
And it's like very tiny and not. It's not cinematic.
I see.
It's very mediocre. You start the game in the future, you just have grenades.
Yeah.
You don't have the gun. And you're throwing grenades, and there's this big, gigantic, like, Terminator robot coming at you.
Whereas, like, that RoboCop 2 arcade game was pretty cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like you're looking for that, and it's like, this is not.
No.
Yeah, right.
It's not, like the cutscenes are cinematic, but you're playing the game, and you're this little guy. It's almost like the scale is almost like Out of This World or Flashback.
Oh.
And it's like very like sideways.
Yeah.
Like, what was that game you played? Blackthorn.
Blackthorn.
It's like that.
It's like that.
And you're running sideways and you're like, fuck. So you're up on the, you're up
Did
on the.
we do an episode on that?
You did.
Yeah. Well, I talked about it already. I could go on about that.
The control in this game is better than Blackthorn, but not much.
Well, Blackthorn is very deliberate. Like they're trying to make it kind of like a PC thing. It's not. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were going for something different.
They weren't. This is a regular side-scrolling.
Yeah.
So you just have grenades. You're throwing the grenades, and let me tell you, you want to get down underground where there's not all these big, gigantic, like tracked robots coming at you.
Okay.
You get underground, and there's these big, like shirtless Arnolds with machine guns who are shooting at you, and you have to bomb them all with the grenades. But you have a little icon at the top that has a picture of a grenade. But that's not your grenades. That's your time bombs. You have a limited number of time bombs. You need the time bombs to destroy walls and shit to get through the level.
But you're also using them on these Terminators.
But you might think that you can use them to kill things, but you need to save them because you got to get through. So now you have limited ammo. Right?
Yeah.
And you're going through the level and you're throwing these grenades, and it's like Fester's Quest where the fucking grenades are hitting the roof of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. So you're always got to duck to throw the grenades. And you're like,
yeah.
What the hell? So you're going. And then there's like this gigantic, comically large gun icon.
Yeah.
Like if this is the screen, the gun's like that.
Yeah.
It's like, and you get it. but now you have a machine gun.
Yeah.
But like,
Is it limited ammo still?
No.
Oh.
It's unlimited, and you have it for the rest of the game.
Okay, well.
But you had to go through the whole fucking level with the Fester's Quest grenades and the time bombs and all this shit, and you get a machine gun and you just start laying people out.
Are you saying you wish you just had it from the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were probably wanted it to be like you get a reward, and it's like, oh, this is awesome now.
But then in future levels, there's no new guns.
It's just that.
It's
then.
just that.
Yeah.
It's like they made half the fucking video game. This game has 1, 2, 3, 4 levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has 4 levels because they used all the space on the cartridge for the cool music and the cool digitized images. And, it's a licensed game.
Yeah.
It's a licensed game for... When did Terminator 1 come out?
Oh, geez. What was it, like 88 or 9 or something?
Right. So that was it's like 5-6 years ago licensed. Like Terminator 2's already out.
Yeah.
It's weird. So
that is weird.
So you go, you're in the future. You finally get to the end. As you know, Kyle has to go back in time. You get the machine gun. I can't imagine what would happen if you didn't get the machine gun.
You're fucked and you probably have to start over.
I can't, it's in the path, but what if you jumped over
are you
it?
saying, is this hey Mike, challenge run? Is this
I don't even know if you could. I think you might have to get it. But
Yeah, right.
let's say that you didn't get it. Would you have the grenades that suck in the next level? Or would it just give you the gun?
I don't know.
I think you need the gun. But anyway, so you go underground.
Did they even let you finish the level if you don't get it?
Yeah, I don't.
Is there a way to not get it?
Yeah,
right.
That's weird. There might be. Anyway, so then you go to 1984, and there's you're naked, and there's the digitized picture of naked Kyle Reese in a video game, and I'm like, wow. No, I mean, it's not like it's not like there's dicks hanging out, but it's like
he's erect.
Yeah, right.
Standing there.
It's
You're like,
God damn it. It's not like that. But still, there's man ass in the game.
Oh, it shows his ass?
It shows his ass, side profile, but it's still there.
Is he bent over?
Yeah, in the fetal position.
No way.
Yeah.
Is he spreading his ass open?
God damn it, Mike.
Well, yeah, I didn't expect it
It's
to go.
a shot from the movie.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's
I don't remember that.
but it's because you're naked when you come through.
That part.
Yeah.
With the orb and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's
I thought you said it was Kyle. Oh, it is Kyle Reese
Yeah, because
coming.
he goes back in time.
Right.
Yeah, because he's chasing the
Right.
T-100.
That's right.
Yeah, so he goes back in time.
In my mind, I can only envision Arnold with that happening. But yes, it could. It happens.
Yeah,
You're right. It's the time travel.
Because you're
thing.
in a green army suit with a cap at the beginning.
Okay.
But then in the cutscene, they show you coming out of the portal,
Right.
from the movie.
Right. That's surprising that they would be able to put that on there.
Yeah, it's a weird angle, but it's still there.
Yeah.
So then you end up in 1984, and you got the white coat on, and you're going around and you're killing cops, hundreds of cops. Cops are coming from different directions. You're just machine gunning
Wow.
cops. The whole fucking level is full of dudes with Molotov cocktails and cops.
Right.
And you just kill them. You kill all of them. There's 50 million of them everywhere.
How far did you get in this?
Not much further than this.
Okay.
It
sounds difficult.
I'm going to tell you about the rest of it.
Okay.
But this is yeah. So I got to the police station.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So there's these girders. You're climbing up ladders, and you fly up the ladders too. Normally a guy in a game is slow up a ladder.
Yeah.
Kyle Reese is
he just goes up. Yeah.
He just goes up at his running speed.
Yeah. Right. Just up real quick.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Or down. It's
I might like that.
Yeah.
Because it's a video game, so why not take some liberties? Sometimes you do you're playing a game and it's like this, and you're just come on.
And then you get on the roof. It's helicopters just fucking machine gunning from all directions. It's
Yeah.
I don't want to be up there.
Yeah.
So you're sliding down.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's like rescue embassy mission. You're
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get there, and then
Oh, let's do that for an episode.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. That was when we were talking about doing this show. I was like, yeah, we could play games like Rescue.
I think Rescue Embassy Mission was the first idea for this show.
Yeah.
Ryan's like, yo, Mike, you want to do a show? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, how about we just do Rescue Embassy Mission? And I'm like, I think I've heard of that game. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna make a show, and it's gonna be, we're gonna start with that. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
And I'm like, I went home like that day or week. I played through Rescue the Embassy Mission like on stream, and I made it like pretty far. And it actually is a pretty like interesting.
It's interesting.
Game. It's not necessarily good, but it's interesting.
It's deep.
Not really.
It's deep.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I like it. So you could tell that plan of doing these like deep cuts that nobody knows didn't work for the show because I'm playing Terminator.
Right. Like, well, that's how it goes on YouTube. It's like you try to do. I'll give you an example. Like, I try to do Sin and Punishment. Nobody's watching it. They're like, well, I don't. They're like, oh, it's also Sin and Punishment 2. They're like, we don't remember what that is.
Sin and Punishment came out on the Wii Virtual Console.
Yeah,
it was the first one of the Wii Virtual Console like import games.
Yeah,
that you could play.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know things.
Ryan's dropping that knowledge. He's like, yo, it came out on that virtual console that doesn't like exist anymore.
Yeah
it's
great.
You guys, anybody here remember the virtual console?
Right,
they're all playing. What are you guys playing out there? Hi, Premiere.
Yeah,
that's playing maybe, or unless they're watching it later.
Yeah it's like the best part of the Wii Virtual Console was when you downloaded things. Nintendo's network was slow as shit, and the loading screen was Mario running, and then he'd hit a block.
Yeah.
And then be running.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah. It was awful. And you're like, when's this going to be done? That's not a progress bar.
Yeah.
What is...
He could just keep hitting that block forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. I hate that.
Yeah. It's, you know what it is? Like, people went in the source code. It's literally an animated GIF.
Yeah.
It's a web page.
Yeah.
With an animated GIF of him hitting it. It does nothing.
It's like nothing.
It's nothing.
Oh my God.
It's awful.
It's like running off of like Windows XP or some shit.
I don't even know. So you're going and you're jumping on police cars and platforming on the girders sucks. Because it's like you have to be perfect. You know what I'm talking about. You played a million games where you have to be perfect with the jumps.
You gotta run. You gotta get to the very edge
of the
platform, or you can't make it to the next.
You better be on the last fucking pixel.
The last pixel.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's got to be the back of your heel.
Yeah.
The last pixel of the back of your heel has to hit the very most right pixel of the ground platform, or you will die.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
There's a jump like that in Castlevania 3: Dracula's Curse. The part with the platforms that go like this, it's on the Sypha path.
Yeah.
And you get the last one before you get out of that area with these things, you have to make a jump like that. And if you're not on the very last pixel, fuck you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So then and there's the bar, and the bar is Tech Noir. Which, by the way, you want to hear an awesome fucking song, listen to Tech Noir by Gunship. That is a great song. And I think that song kind of talks back to this. So you get to the Tech Noir bar, and the music in there is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Which makes it all worth it. It doesn't really, but it
helps.
It helps.
It helps.
And Arnold.
This is the last level now you're talking about?
No, this is the second level.
Second level.
Yeah. So you're at the end, and Arnold shows up, and you're like, fuck. What am I going to do?
But I thought you said there was already a bunch of Arnolds.
No, they were like
in the sewer.
They were
whatever.
like in the past. I mean, in the future. Sorry, in the future.
So now you're
shirtless.
Because then you traveled back and he was naked.
You know where they're like in the movie?
Yeah.
They did that in the game.
I see.
Right. But this is like the T-100.
Okay.
That's gonna.
That's like the real deal. Okay.
This is Arnold in 1984 coming to kill Sarah Connor.
Okay.
In the bar.
Yeah.
But you just like shoot him in the ankle and he falls over.
I have a question about that because like in the future when there's all like basically like they're the same as Arnold, but then he's just taking him down. You can take him down with a grenade and all this. You're saying like you could, I know you say you would run out or whatever, but you can take him out. But like, is there a difference between like the Arnold that goes back in time and then the same?
Yeah, because he's the T-100.
He's
which
better.
has the cyber metal skeleton.
The other ones don't, I
The
guess?
other ones don't.
Oh.
He's like a better model.
He's the next better model.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that he's like blowing up with the grenades aren't.
They're like shittier models.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because he had like the skin and all,
Yeah.
So you fight him in the bar, and it's not like a boss fight. This game has no boss fights, really. Like, you shoot him, you duck, because he shoots above you. You shoot him in the ankle, he falls over. And, like, you're like, well, I keep shooting. What am I supposed to do? And eventually he shoots, and his, like, machine gun's fast, and it'll fuck you up. You're supposed to run by him and get to the end of the level.
Yeah.
But the game doesn't tell you that.
You got to figure this shit out. On your own. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's retro gaming for you. Figure it out, asshole. Right?
So
yeah.
You figure it out, asshole.
Yeah, right.
And then, much like the movie, Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese get arrested.
Yeah.
And you're in the prison, so you got to fight from like the bottom of the prison all the way to the top.
Okay.
And then all the way down, across, and then down.
Yeah.
And then out.
Yeah.
And then the Terminator's there again. And it's the same fucking fight that you just did.
Oh, that sucks.
But the police station goes on and on and on. It's the world's largest fucking police station. It just keeps going. But there's something I want to mention about like how they use the budget on this cartridge, because I think that's important. And the biggest area where it shows is you get to the roof of the police station. And the first time you see the American flag waving on top, it's backwards.
Oh, they have to flip the level or something?
They flip the flag. And then you run to the other side of the roof, and it's flipped correctly.
Oh.
Because they had to mirror...
They didn't want to redraw it or something?
So they just mirrored the sprite.
That's lazy.
Right?
Yeah.
But I was looking at it, I'm like, they just mirrored the sprite.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Because they have all this digitized music and cutscenes and shit. They're like...
But now you get like several levels in, and they're starting to get lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was bothered by that, because you really start seeing like the technical limitations of it.
I'm like that with games too, where it's like I'm enjoying this game, and then one little thing happens, and I'm like,
yeah,
I lose my mind.
Yeah, that's
the
like,
fucking flag is backwards.
Yeah,
this is
it's
bullshit,
awful.
right?
Yeah. Well, that's like the game that we're working on. I look at. I mean, we've kind of announced it. The AVGN game we're working on.
So there's an AVGN Deluxe that you guys already have. You've probably already got your physical copies. Not that. A long time ago, Ryan mentioned that he was working on a 8-bit, like one that you could put into a real NES. Totally new, different thing, just to clarify.
So, anytime I see something like that, where it looks lazy, I'll play through the levels and we'll have comments, and I'll come up with 10 pages of notes. And I'm like, it can't be like this. It can't be like this. This is, this pattern's, it can't be the same pattern. If you go from the blue version of the enemy to the red version of the enemy, you can't just flip the colors. They have to be different.
Yeah.
Or that's lazy.
Yeah.
Right?
It's difficult to be on the designing end of it, because you can play a game and you can be like, oh, that's not good and that's not good, but to have to start from the ground up, and you start with nothing, and then you have to make it, that's a hard thing. And it gives me a lot of respect for these companies that are able to put out like an amazing game,
right?
Like how talented the people are that were able to make all these great games that we grew up with, because it wasn't easy to do.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that you recently played through the game and you had pages and pages and pages and pages of notes.
And I have more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation though.
Yeah. So, that game will be done when it's done, and we want to make it good. But to make a game good, it takes time.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Yeah.
And me and Mike sat down and we wrote, we want the levels to be this. We want the enemies to be this. We went through lots of concepts back and forth, and
I wanted it to not be just the exact same thing that was in the AVGN Deluxe games.
Right.
There's a lot of things.
All different references, all of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the police station reminded me how hard game development is. It's just like that. So the last level, it's a shame because the first level and the last level have amazing graphics. The second level is worse, but the Tech Noir bar is amazing. The police station sucks. They shit that level out.
So, knowing the movie, listen, I'm not a Terminator expert. I've seen I've seen Terminator 1, 2, 3. I've seen like Genesis. I've seen the movies, but I'm not like Mr. Terminator. But I know the end of the first movie is the whole, it's like the factory and all that shit. And he's like, the things like chasing her and all that. That has to be the end of this,
That's
right?
the end of the game.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The end of the game is the Terminator crawling.
I figured.
And then the
and
thing
fire
crushes
and all that.
it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, you just run up to Sarah Connor, no boss, no nothing. The Terminator crawls, and then it gets crushed.
Oh, you don't like to have a fight?
I mean, you're fighting Terminators. You're fighting like a million Terminators at the end.
Okay.
Which isn't the movie. In the movie, it's just the one. But you're in this like industrial thing, and all these Terminators are coming at you, and you're killing them.
But in the movie, there aren't all those Terminators. Just the one Terminator.
There's just the one.
But it's a video game, so they're like, we can't just have one Terminator. But they could have. They really needed to do like a thing like they did in like the Resident Evil where that Mr. X is like coming after you. It's like you're being chased by the one and he's really strong and he keeps popping out and you gotta like kill him.
Yeah, what should have happened is I think what they were trying to do, but they failed at, was they were trying to make it so that like you're fighting Arnold and then you're fighting him again and then you're fighting him again as you go through the level.
Yeah.
He's pursuing you, but the way the enemies load and it's not
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this level is easier than the police. Like the police station's way harder. You know.
Don't you hate that when the last level's easier than the one before it?
It's really bad. And you get to the end, and like Sarah Connor looks like a fucking rag doll. She's like laying on the ground. You just walk up to her, and then he gets crushed, and it's over.
And then it's over. What's that like?
And then the credits play with them like driving away on the Jeep.
Yeah.
You know, oh, Kyle didn't make it, but you don't die. It just tells you, it's like, oh, by the way, you're dead.
So this sounds like there's some cool things about it, but it's lackluster.
There's like gaps in it where they like didn't do things and all that. You know, it's weird.
Isn't there like in the first Terminator movie, there's the whole part where doesn't he like go into the bar and all that? And like there's like a lot of iconic scenes in the first movie that I feel like I'm not hearing you mention.
The best part of this game is the bar. The bar's the best part.
Yeah. Oh, there is the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the first time you fight him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the best.
Well, that's good then. Okay.
That's the best part. You know, you could tell the influences of later Terminator games and stuff. Like, obviously, this is a Terminator game that takes place in the context of Terminator 2. So,
I see.
You know, there's a lot of that. Yeah. It's all sizzle and no steak, as they say, Mike.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you recommend this game?
No.
Yeah.
I think you could get you could get more out of this game. You could see the cool pixel art and cutscenes and stuff. Just watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I hate saying that.
Well, let me put it this way. Would you recommend it to me for like a stream?
Yeah. This is a game that you could play and you could probably beat, and it would probably be 1 or 2 streams and you'd be done with it.
And be done. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
It's not the hardest.
But you wouldn't recommend it to like a regular guy.
Like a civilian?
A civilian, yeah.
No, I wouldn't recommend it to like a regular guy walking down the street.
That'd be a good topic. How about we do... how about a guy who hasn't played NES or Genesis or any of that since the 90s?
Yeah.
And he wants to come back and play one game. What's the game?
Oh, that's interesting. We should do that on Patreon.
Not right now, but I'm saying that, maybe that'll be Patreon content.
We should do that. Not this one. This isn't the one game.
This is not the game. It's not Werewolf either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, my game I'm going to be talking about today is. Are you?
I'm done, man. I'm never going to say. I'm never going to utter a word about this game for the rest of my life.
Right? That might be for the best.
Yeah. Right.
So my game is Blast Core for Nintendo 64.
Yeah, it rhymes.
So I haven't been. It does. I haven't played as much Nintendo 64 as I've wanted to on stream over the years. I've done some stuff. I've done Star Fox. I've done GoldenEye. I've done some Wave Race. I have played Nintendo 64, but I'm usually stuck playing Genesis and NES and stuff like that. So I'm hoping over this next year. I've been playing more Wii. I'm trying to branch out a little bit more.
I like the logo. It's got like a nuclear logo.
Yeah. And So this game, I think this was a game that a lot of people either had or rented or at least know about or tried. I think this is a game that people probably played like a level or two of and then probably moved on and turned it off to the next game.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It was like rental usually. So
it was popular though. Like a lot of people had this game.
A lot of people know this game, had this game, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it because I know a lot of you guys know it, and a lot. So this is kind of a divided thing I found out. So I would do these streams and be like, "What Nintendo 64 game do you guys want me to play?" And people would list games, and a lot of times people say Blast Core. So I finally get to do a full stream of it. And I'm like, "All right, let's check this game out."
Yeah.
So I check out the game. So if you don't know anything about it, what it is it's construction vehicles. It'll be like a dump truck, like cranes, but there's also robots and shit. So it's like weird, but a general idea of a level is there's like, okay, so the map screen is planet Earth.
Yeah.
And there'll be like a little circle on the map and you pick one of the circles and then you go into an area and it's like a city. So like the first one you might do is you're a dump truck or a bulldozer and there's some buildings and you got to bulldoze the buildings down. That's it. Move on to the next stage. It starts very basic like that.
And it's 3D, but it's like an isometric view.
It's weird because you can hit the C buttons and you can change the camera angles and shit. So you can do like you're saying, like that kind of view.
Like a 3/4.
It's like you can do like a 3/4 view, but then you can also hit the button and kind of jump to an above view. Yeah. But the problem is on a lot of the stages, what's happening is there is a truck and the truck has bomb on it and it's going. And if it hits anything, it's gonna explode, and the explosion is like crazy, like blows up the whole world. Like it's because it's a video game, it's like sci-fi almost a little bit because it's got robots and shit. But so you're trying to avoid this thing exploding. So here comes the truck with the explosive on it. Okay, there's some buildings in the way. You have to blow up the buildings in time. So here it comes, and then when the game starts, it's very easy. You just have the bulldozer. You bulldoze some buildings down. The truck goes by. You move on to the next stage. It's super simple when it starts, but as the game goes, it gets a lot more difficult. So there's all these different things that you can do. So one of the things is a bulldozer. You can just bulldoze the buildings down. One of the other trucks or devices, I don't know if there's any kind of real thing like this, but it's a truck where the sides of the truck come out like this and like crush buildings like on the sides like that, and it's kind of neat. I don't think something like that like even like really exists, but it's a cool thing. So you go between buildings, like you're going down a street in a city and you're just bulldozing kind of like bulldozing the buildings down. That's really fun. You follow a line and you bulldoze the buildings down. That's fun. Another one is the giant robots. There's different types of giant robots. There's the giant robot that rolls. He'll roll into buildings. There's that guy. And then there's also the one that I really like, and it's probably my favorite part of the game. There's a robot that has a jetpack, and you can fly up into the sky, and what you're supposed to do, it'll be like, okay, you have 1 minute to destroy like 7 buildings. And what you do is you fly up into the air, and then you're like really high up, and then you hit the A button or B button, whatever it is, and you come crashing down on the building, and then you demolish it, and then you move on to the next one. You try to do it like quicker and quicker. And if you can, let's say like you do it in under 30 seconds, you get like a gold medal. Or
so it's like
like that kind of stuff. So you keep doing the level like over and over. This is a game where you do the levels over and over and over because there's other objectives. So let's say it's that one. So you're going around as the robot. There's this other shit where it's like on the ground, there'll be little like lights on the ground, and there's like 100 of them. So you go over this huge stage, and you got to touch every blinky light, and that's like one of the objectives. Another objective is like destroy all the buildings. Right. So now you destroyed all the buildings. Now you touched all the blinky lights. Then it's like find the hidden satellite dishes. So then you go around, you try to find the couple satellite dishes. That's another one. Humans, get all the humans out of the buildings. And that one's really like weird because when I first started it, I didn't understand. I was like, okay, so you got to get all the humans or something. So does that mean I drive the bulldozer over to the humans and they get in the bulldozer and you save them? Like, what is exactly going on? But what I think it is so there's like a building and you bulldoze the building down and then all the people run out of the building. But I'm like, it's like their houses.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. You're saving them, but it's like video game. So it's like you're destroying their homes and their apartment buildings.
So is
and
that
it's
like a building that the damn thing won't even go by?
It's like after. So, okay. So when you first start, it's like, the bomb truck is coming. But then you beat that, and then you go back into the level. That bomb truck's gone. You beat that part. So now there's just apartment buildings like all over the place, and
you're just
and houses.
fucking shit up.
And it's like there's 60 people left to save, and you're like, okay, how do I save them? There's their house. Destroy their house. They run out of the house, and then they're saved. It's like it doesn't really.
Weird.
It doesn't. It's weird. It doesn't really
Yeah.
make sense. There's also like on certain stages, like you'll be going around and I don't know exactly how to explain this, but like it's Nintendo 64 like graphics and levels and stuff. So you'll be like the robot and you're like going around. You're like, okay, I gotta find the next thing. I don't know where to go. So you're looking for all these like blinky dots and whatever. And you're like, okay, I found 99 of 100 of the blinky dots. There's one more somewhere. Where the fuck is it? And you're going around. I'm like playing the game for like an hour looking for the fucking one blinky dot. There's like water and I'm like a robot and the robot can fly. But I thought that the robot, like he has these jets and you're like floating. I thought that it only like lasts so long so you can't like fly. I find out later, like you can float like forever, I guess, basically.
Oh.
So you can float like over the ocean and then there's like another island and you go over this island and then there's the other blinky dots. And now you're like traveling around in this whole area and then there's a big mountain. And you're like, okay, well, what's on top of this mountain? So and then you like fly up on top of this mountain and you're like searching for this random shit and you're like walking around. The whole screen is green and you're just like, you're a robot like walking in a field. It's just like green. And you're like, where am I going? And it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. And I'm like, this can't even be right. And then you reach like the end of the screen and you're like, okay, the game won't let me go any further. So let me start going like up. So now I start going up. It goes on for like a while. I'm like walking for a couple minutes. And then finally like I get, and then like you do get somewhere and then it's like the edge of the cliff and then it's like water, but there's like cliffs going down.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so there is something up here. Like they actually expect you to do this and it's like ridiculous. So, okay. So I start jumping down. I get down to the bottom and then there's like a river and like water.
Yeah.
And then I look and there's like a little gray thing and I get closer and it's like a van and in the van is like a scientist. So I found that on each of these levels, not every level, but a bunch of the levels, there's like scientists that you find in these vans. And this happened to be
down by the river.
A van down by the river. The first one I found, but yeah, exactly. But there's like these there's what I'm trying to say is there's these really, really hidden things on certain stages. Most of the stages aren't like that, but if you get the 6 scientists, who knows, something happens.
Right.
And like I said, the whole map screen is the planet Earth. So you're trying to like when you're on the map screen, let's say you get 100% completion, but you didn't get one satellite or something. It'll like be colored like gold or whatever, like you got everything, but then there's like a ring around it and it's like it's like red or something and you're like, that ring around it also has to be colored like gold or I don't know what the colors are. And because you didn't get the satellite too, right? So then you go back into the level again, then you go fucking search for the fucking satellite.
Man, these N64 GameCube era games are like collectathons.
Yeah.
You get like a million things. Like,
I never knew the game was like this. I just thought it was like, oh, blow stuff up, your truck, your dump truck or whatever. Like, that's all I thought it was. I didn't know you keep going into levels like this. Anyway, so there's different types of levels. There's races. You can be like a race car or a cop car or a motorcycle, and you go around, you do like races. And again, you keep going to the level, try to get better times, that kind of thing. Then there's level, as you go on, the game gets more difficult and you start getting to things that are like more complicated, where it's like, okay, you start the level and you got this dump truck bulldozer thing. You're going around and then you see like a block and you're like, okay, I'll push the block with the bulldozer thing. And I'm like, whoa, do I have to push the block like off? Like, what do I do with the fucking block that I'm pushing around? And what I found out is you push the block, and that's only to move the block out of the way of a wall, because there's like a path, and then you hit the Z like underneath, and the man gets out of the robot or whatever, and now he's like walking, and he's got this green outfit, and he goes down the fucking steps. He gets to the bottom of the steps. And then there's like bombs down there. And you're like, all right, what is this now? Now you push the bomb in front of like a door, and then you back up and you wait, and then the bomb explodes, and then the door explodes, and then you go in the door. But it's a Nintendo 64 graphics, so it's like the screen. The screen is like, you don't like, when you go in the door, you're still looking at the building from the outside. Like, it doesn't go to the inside. Right. So you're like, all right, my guy's inside the wall, but I don't know what's going on.
It's like weird camera issues.
It's like weird camera issues. And I'm like, okay, but I'm in there. What's happening? So I hit like the A button, and then it's like, now I'm driving like a fucking train in the wall. the train's like going, and then you go, and then you start seeing the train like in different walls, and then you stop the train. You get out of the train and you come out, and now there's like a fucking motorcycle, and you get on the fucking motorcycle, and then you fucking go around the fucking thing, whatever. And now you're driving this fucking motorcycle, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And the motorcycle is actually really cool. They could have made a whole game like out of it. Right. So you're driving the fucking motorcycle around, and you're like, now what? And you're like, oh, there's a couple more buildings. Let me check my stats. Oh, the last thing I have to do is destroy these buildings, and then I beat it, right?
Yeah.
But there's a fence in the way. And you're like, oh, I can't destroy the buildings. But my motorcycle has missiles. So I shoot the missiles at the buildings, doesn't do anything. I'm like, okay. What do I do? So now I'm driving the fucking motorcycle all over the fucking stage, trying to figure out what to do. And I come upon like this weird thing. And there's one of my robot suits is in behind glass. Yeah. And I'm like, if I had the robot suit, I could fly and I could destroy those buildings. But how do you get the robot suit? So I shoot the missiles at the glass to break the glass, and it doesn't work. No. And I'm like, how do you get the fucking suit so I can destroy the fucking thing so I can be done with this stupid fucking game? Right. So I'm like, all right. So I'm driving around, and I see some sewers. And I'm like, maybe I go in the sewer. So I go to the sewer, drive all over sewers. This is nothing. No. Drive around. I finally find this door. Use the missiles to shoot it at this fucking door.
Did it work?
You get out of the fucking motorcycle. You walk to the door. You go in the door. Now you're inside the door. Once again, you're looking at this like from the outside. Right. And you're just seeing like grass and stuff. The guy starts walking. And now the whole screen is grass. Nothing but grass. But you see a shadow of your guy. He's supposed to be like underground. Right. So you're walking in an underground tunnel. You can't even see yourself. You just see grass and like a shadow. And the guy's walking, and you walk for like 5 minutes. And finally you get to underneath where the fucking robot is. Yeah. And you get into the fucking robot, and the robot goes through the glass. and then you fucking hit the button. Now you're flying in the air. You come down, you crush the fucking buildings, and you're like, that's one level. And it says level complete, and then you go on to the next level. It's all these bizarre puzzles and shit. Yeah.
But you know what?
They have to do.
If they made this game new right now, it would be amazing.
This game could use a remake. It's got a lot of problems. So there's something that I don't really like about. Well, there's a couple things. There's a mission, or there's several missions where you're the dump truck, and the dump truck you have to hit the R on the controller, and then you can like slide, kind of like a Mario Kart where you're drifting, sort of, but it's different. You slide the dump truck into buildings, but here's what sucks. There's a building, and you go to slide the dump, because you're just trying to destroy buildings.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what the game is. It's like mayhem, you know. You go to hit the building, but then the building, now you're like later in the game, so they're trying to make it harder.
Yeah.
So the building is like strong. You can't just go right through the buildings. So now like you hit the fucking building and you're like, boom, and the truck stops and you're like, oh. You try to like back the truck up, but there's like a box. And then here's the building, and then here's the box, and you back up. Oh, I hit this, and then you go fucking forward, and you hit the fucking
It's like
building.
Austin Powers
exactly.
when he's in the
You're
hallway
going
with
back
the
and
golf
forth.
cart.
You're trying to fucking
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't get out, and guess what? The bomb's coming.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I got like 20 seconds to do this, and there's a warehouse,
Yeah.
there's a factory, and there's a farm, and there's a silo. And I got 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the controls are not great on this. And you're doing this like dump truck sliding shit. And you're sliding your dump truck, but the building doesn't fucking come down.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, ugh. So back the fucking dump truck up. And then you go, okay, we took down one thing. But then you have this building, this building, this building.
It's still coming.
I did this fucking mission like... It took me like an hour. I fucking hate the dump truck in this game. It's really fucking annoying.
The fishtailing is not.
It's just, what I don't like about it is I'm not a person who likes games with time limits very much. And I don't do speedrunning, all that. And I get anxiety. With this fucking bomb coming, it's like a lot of anxiety, and then I get angry because the controls with the dump truck are inverted.
Yeah.
You know, you ever play a game where you're like, oh, this is inverted controls. Let me go into the settings on Steam or something and switch the controls so it's like normal.
Yeah.
But it's an N64 game, so you can't
No.
switch shit. So you're stuck with the inverted controls, and I'm like getting really like fucking aggravated. So there's that, and you do all these other levels, but basically that's the main thing I don't like about it. I don't like the sense of anxiety with the bomb coming.
You know what was the worst
That's what I don't
time-based game I ever played?
What's that?
Dead Rising.
Yeah, with
You
the
ever played
zombies
Dead
in the
Rising?
mall and all
You're
that,
in the
right?
mall with the
Yeah.
zombies, and like it's like global time. Like your playthrough is a certain amount of time
Yeah.
until like you land on the roof.
Isn't that Capcom?
Yeah.
I think there's one of those games and they have like a Mega Man stuff like in the
Eventually,
levels
you
and
get
stuff.
the
Yeah.
Mega Man gun.
Yeah.
So that game is like, you know, they want you to save all the people,
Yeah.
but you have to have like a perfect run
Yeah.
to save all the people on time, and the zombies just get worse, and it's like,
I'd rather just like, so for this game, like if they remade it,
yeah.
I wouldn't really want the time stuff. Like, here's what I would do. I would have the time stuff, but I would have modes. Like, here's the mode where you can do the time stuff. Here's the mode where you can just collect shit. I'm more like, I liked going around and collecting the stuff and exploring.
Yeah.
And I like destroying the shit, but the time stuff, not so much. So, this game is a mixed bag for sure.
It sounds like a blast.
I mean, I know you're joking, but like,
Yeah. No, it sounds good. Like
it kind of is like really fun sometimes, and then sometimes it's not.
you represented it really well. That's what I'm saying. Like you made it sound exciting, like something that somebody would want to play.
It depends. I would say this. It depends what kind of a person you are and what kind of a gamer you are. If you don't mind the time stuff, you'll probably really like this game. But if you're more like me and you don't like the times, then you might want to stay away from it.
Yeah, I don't know. No, when you were talking about it, I'm like, oh, I got to play this game. Like you convinced me.
I would. I don't know. I don't know if you'd. I don't know. You try it. Yeah, I think everybody should at least play it for like 20 minutes because, like, when you first start the game, it's not as difficult, and you get to try out all the different cool things like the jetpack and stuff like that. And then you can see for yourself as you play it if you want to stick with it.
It certainly seems like there's more to it than the Terminator on Genesis.
There's a lot to it, actually. And so apparently if you get gold on every single area, then after that, you can start unlocking platinums. So then, so you have to get all gold before it allows you to do that, apparently. And then you get all platinums. And if you get all platinums on everything, then you go to the next planet.
Really?
Apparently. So this game is like a lot to it.
Wow.
So it would, and you know, we were talking about how it would be like a rental.
Yeah.
Actually, there's so much content here. I think it probably would have been a better game to own because like to be able to do all that is going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, it sounds like a big game. And I mean, there's some big games on N64, but N64 has a lot of like short games because of the cartridges.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they made the most of what they had with this one.
I think so. Yeah. So, you know, for N64, not bad, not the best, but you know, there's a lot of fun to be had.
You know, one thing that people ask is, oh, what's a unique game that I could play on a system that's unique to that system? And this is one of them.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. It's definitely worth checking out.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that is this week's episode of Talk About Games. Guys, we have a thing called a Patreon.
We do.
And you should go over there, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. The reason why is because as many episodes as you see here on this YouTube channel, you can also see double the amount of episodes. We do all kinds of stuff over on Patreon. So if you want more Mike and Ryan content, go on over to our Patreon, check that out.
And this is YouTube, so like and subscribe, click the bell, all that crap.
Oh, and leave the comments. And also, if you're watching this or if you ever see this, here's something I got for you. Manually come back once in a while and check the channel. Don't expect YouTube to send out notifications because it might not. So once in a while, come back, like once a week, once a month, come back and check and see if we got a new video out, because there might be a bunch.
I guarantee you 8 o'clock on Fridays.
8 o'clock on Fridays.
That's when they come out.
Come back 8 o'clock on Fridays, Eastern Standard Time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
We are waiting for the Dark Souls of fighting games. Let us have it. We're ready.
Soul Edge has nothing on a lightsaber. Like, I'm sorry.
James Earl Jones comes back.
No!
Oh no! Oh!
I don't think kids trade games anymore.
I need that sense of accomplishment, and it wasn't there. And I think that was a major flaw.
The way they engineer these is just phenomenal.
As much as you're into like the comics, I was very into the toys, so I was on like the message board all the time.